Hello and welcome to Meet an Indie Agency. I'm Kyle O'Brien, your host, managing editor here at Indie Agency News. Today we are talking with Craft and Commerce, CNC, otherwise known as not CNC Music Factory, mind you, CNC, Craft and Commerce. We are going to be joined right now by Mark Barker. Hi, how you doing? Co-founder. Welcome, and you are in Chicago right now. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Thanks for having us, Kyle. That is not the first time we've been confused with a music factory.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is a thumping theme if you ever wanted to kind of tie the two together. So, and also bringing on Carly Feinstein, managing director, CNC. So thank you both for joining us today. Let's get to know you because it's Meet an Indie Agency. Let's meet you. Let's talk a little bit about the agency. Just give me the rundown. Your media agency, but give me what makes you stand out and how people should know you.
For sure. Yeah, I would say we are somewhat unique. We say we're the media agency run by marketers. My co-founder and I, Jordan, were both early kind of fractional CMOs before founding CNC. That's kind of where the name comes from. We, having been on both the agency and the brand side, we felt a common pain point that agencies' center of gravity typically lives more on the craft side, and we really wanted to bring commercial success to that and live at that intersection. And so that's where CNC comes from. And then Carly is actually our very first client, and we were lucky enough to pull her over, and she's become our managing director, and then as of last year, our partner. And so kind of with that makeup all on the client side, and then being really intentional about staffing our senior level folks with brand side experience as well, we've really carved out this identity of bringing a marketer's perspective to media. Look, why is that important? When you've sat in the marketer seat, you've really been accountable for growth. The buck really stops with you. And we really built the agency that we wish we had around kind of some pain points that we felt. I'd say the first one is we are really good at media planning, buying, and optimization. But honestly, when we were in the marketer seat, that wasn't necessarily what was keeping us up at night, right? A lot of folks were good at that. Usually that was going pretty well. It was everything that kind of surrounds that that really became our pain points. We would have the C-suite and boards asking us, hey, should we be spending at all? How much should we spend? If I spend this, or this, what's the relative impact on my business going to be? I need short-term impact today, and I need long-term brand outcomes. How are you going to prove that this works, right? And so those were the questions that we were really wrestling with. And, we've been really intentional in building CNC, the team, the processes, and the platforms in a way that kind of leans head on into those challenges. And then I would say the second advantage from being on the client side is, think about what do clients really ask? Like when you are ultimately responsible for the outcome, you ask really probing questions. Like, why are we doing it this way? Have we thought about this? Why does this not look like this? And, that's something we always wanted from our agency partners, like looking around corners, anticipating what our questions would be and answering them before they even came out of our mouths. And so both from a staffing standpoint, getting those amazing senior leaders that have been on the client side, and just from a agency culture and value standpoint, we have really embedded asking why, getting to the root truth, and only bringing clients solutions, recommendations when we feel like we have something that is data driven, fully vetted, and that we can stand behind. And so those two things are resonating. We've been really fortunate in the last 6 months or so to chalk up wins with some big brands, Chobani, Midea, TrueCar.com, Real Good Foods, MUSH, Clear Canadian, Fly by Jing. And then, add that to a roster that includes Girl Scouts of the USA, NASA, RW Knudsen, Santa Cruz Organic, Avangrid, and more. That's really our thing, right? approach media from a marketer's perspective. And I just think right now, obviously, it's no secret, tougher than ever to be in that CMO seat. And that message seems to be resonating.
That's great. Carly, tell me, you were a client and then came on. Where did that come from? How did that come about? Let us know a little bit about what led to you making the big switch.
Yeah, so it was a big switch. Mainly, I had been client side for about a decade. So it was a big change, a really, really positive one, and something that was pretty natural. I was running marketing for a women's health startup. And when you're a startup and you're a growing business, you rely really heavily on your agency partners. And so I had built this incredible client agency partnership with Barker and Jordan and the team at CNC. Relied on them as an extension of my own team, which was small and nimble as it goes in startup world. And through that partnership, just really felt a lot of passion for the utility of paid media. I came prior to being in-house. I came from experiential, so I was definitely much more of a more generalist brand marketer, but came to love just the power of growth and amplification that is enabled through paid, and really appreciated the thought partnership that was enabled through our work with CNC, and obviously believed in it so much that I decided to come over and do more of it across the full suite of brands and clients working at CNC. So we've worked together for over a decade now. The first half of that in a client agency relationship, and now here at CNC. So yeah.
That's fantastic. Mark, how did you get it to come over?
Well, gosh, back before I was based in Chicago, we would spend a lot of time here, and we just, we kept saying the grass is green. Come on over. The water's Luke. And after doing that enough over a number of years, we finally got her to take the plunge, and we couldn't be more grateful for everything Carly has brought to our team over the last 5 years, and where we're headed. It's really cool.
All right, that's amazing. All right, well, let's skip on to well, here's your lovely logo. Let's talk about a bit of why you love being independent and what kind of advantages that is. Why is being indie so important to you and the team?
Yeah, for sure. I can speak personally. Carly's worked in a bigger agency environment. I've worked in a whole co-environment. A lot of our staffers have. What really fuels me being in an indie, and we see this, we're hiring a lot right now, and we see folks in whole co-environments light up when we talk about this, is, look, I wanted to do innovative things. I wanted to work across different parts of the business. I wanted to move really quickly. And it is really hard to do that in a big agency environment. And in an indie shop, you just have a lot more room to roam, a lot more opportunity to take ownership and make it your own. And so I think that gets me excited every day. I know it gets our staff excited. What maybe I didn't expect is the indie agency community. I think what you guys are doing through content, through sister cities, et cetera, is awesome. We are really proud partners of the Nostos network, a network of 60 plus indie agencies that together represent a 360 capability. So that adds a ton of value to our clients, because we have trusted partners that we can draw upon to tackle anything that kind of comes our way. And then we just have a broader network of indie agency friends and compatriots, and that community and that network's really special because we're all looking out for each other. It's not just that it's indie versus Holdco. We're all starting, growing, running small businesses, and we have to deal with insurance and paying people, cutting paychecks and all this kind of stuff, right? And we're able to share learning and lift one another up. And so it really has been an unexpected, wonderful, unexpected benefit of being in the indie world, how much everyone takes care of one another.
Yeah, I just echo that community has been so incredible yes, because we get to partner together with other great independent shops who kind of think and move at the speed that we do, which is wonderful, but also just from a business operations standpoint, like the amount of resources that we've been able to tap into just by people being really open to sharing, which I would hope that happens at larger shops as well. But I think there's something really unique about we're all in this together and we're all building the plane while it's in the air to some extent. And so, shared thinking around, company scorecard and growth metrics and annual and strategic planning and professional development for growing teams and managing in hybrid or remote cultures, right? All of those things that I think are unique to small yet growing businesses. We found a lot of just success in being very open and humble and learning together as we grow alongside other indies too, which has been incredibly special.
Yeah, and it is special because that's, we want indies to talk to each other. We want them to share information. Yep. And know that you're not out there on an island. And obviously, it seems like you've learned, and people have been able to benefit from you, and you've been able to benefit from them. What are some of the big, learnings? I mean, you mentioned a few of them. What are some of the big learnings you've taken away from other agencies, and what have you been able to impart to them and to be able to share, and then not just grow internally, but grow your, shared businesses?
Yeah, I think so. There's two that I focus on. One is just like an appetite to share work and make the right client introductions when it matters for ultimate client outcomes. So obviously, there's like we are constantly, because we like to show up as strategic partners, we're constantly asked about capabilities or our POV on things that might be outside of our remit because we're specialists, right? And so having a trusted network that we can rely on and know that we trust these partners, that when we introduce them to a client and we recommend them, that they're going to deliver. Like that's one thing that's just been incredible. Like when you have a good network of people that think like you and are intentional with their work, you can just trust in those recommendations. Very tactically, from an operational standpoint, I think the biggest learning that we've taken away that we're currently implementing right now is an operating framework for the organization that's going to help us through our recent phase of growth and beyond. And so we are currently implementing the EOS management framework. I know a lot of other indie agencies who operate on the EOS framework, which is the entrepreneurial operating system. We had heard about this from so many agency partners, both within the Gnosis network and then other partners outside of that network too, that it was just a key to their success in aligning their leadership and the rest of their team on the vision for growth for an emerging agency. And so, that the inspiration for bringing that on board really did come from the rest of the indie network. And they've been, partners in not just making that recommendation, but then also helping to hold us accountable and be a resource to ask questions of as we implement this whole new operating framework for the agency.
Sure. Let's get down to it. Why should a brand work with you?
Wow. We say this all the time, but look, if you're a small brand, you're just getting the boat in the water, all you really need is someone that's really good at planning and buying media, right? Like let's, test it, see how it works, grow from there, right? If you're a big brand and you, are surrounded by a sophisticated internal and external engine, you probably just need someone to slot into that media position and do that really, really well. What's unique about our clients is they typically sit somewhere in the middle. They are often growing really fast, lean marketing team, tasked with doing more with less. Typically they're at an inflection point. So maybe they're launching or relaunching a brand. Something we see often is folks who have hit a ceiling of performance and, their growth targets exceed what they're able to do profitably in performance marketing alone. And they're really thinking about how to expand the aperture and think about how to layer on brand in a profitable way. Or they have kind of enhanced scrutiny on investment. A lot of folks have a PE firm come in and really start scrutinizing those dollars. And they just start asking really, really, really critical questions of their media that we asked when we were, that I kind of said that we were wrestling with when we were in that seat. How much should we spend? What happens if we spend this or that? So all those sorts of critical questions. And we're really built to live there. We are really good at the planning, buying, the optimization, but we surround that with what we call an intelligence layer that is bringing marketing science to bear and helping use research and data to answer some foundational questions around how to move the needle with media. We're really adept at scenario planning and forecasting and built some interesting tools to help there. We take a kind of no nonsense approach to business impact measurement, and that's really core to so much of our work. And then it's just standing side by side with CMOs, whether that is in those difficult board of directors meetings, or whether that is being super dynamic and adapting media to a very challenging, changing business environment, like AKA the one we're in now. So when you need that partner, that has kind of been on your side of the table, looks at media through the lens and with the context of everything else that's going on in your business, and you are in that kind of growth challenger mode, that's when we're a really, really good fit.
That's great. Let's talk a bit about talent. You're a hybrid workforce, you said. What does that mean? A lot of people have different meanings of that. It's partly in office, partly out of office, and from home. But what does it mean? And where you have different bases, or do you have offices in all those bases? Just tell me a little bit about how talent works with you and how you kind of retain them.
Yeah, well, Mark and I are actually both in Chicago, but I'm very clearly in a home office. We were actually remote before COVID. So I happened to come over to CNC in February 2020, and I started in my basement, and then I stayed in my basement for a very long time, as many of us did that year. Yep. But we are, the way we define hybrid is there is no, we don't have a CNC office, and there's no expectation for how much time people spend together. However, we do have kind of little concentrations of people around the Chicago area, around the New York area, and we want to be able to facilitate collaboration. And so what that looks like right now is we actually offer our entire team a work from wherever stipend. And that can be either like use those dollars to make your office at home as comfortable as you need, or join co-working near you. And then we're being really purposeful about trying to coordinate the co-working time. So the team in there's about almost a dozen people near New York right now that are choosing to come into the office. I would say pop into a WeWork together, right? We don't have an office. So right now it's a WeWork. Pop into the WeWork at the same time or on the same day of the week. That's happening 1 or 2 times a week right now, right? It's kind of what people need. Same thing with some other staffers here in Chicago are getting together once a week. We also have team in Kentucky, in Arkansas, in Atlanta, right? So people, they might not be able to get together live with the rest of the team as often, but they're welcome to just get out of the house because we know that's really important. And we're also encouraging, attending industry events where possible. I would say that there are team members in New York and Chicago who are seeing each other weekly, and then we will have a probably quarterly opportunity for team that lives more remotely to have live time as well. But no formal office space at this moment. And I think we want to maintain that flexibility. I think it's important to ensure that emerging talent does have the opportunity to collaborate in person. But I think we all really have a lot of respect for one another's lives and everything else that people have to manage in their day as well. So we try to come at it from we want to foster and cultivate that continued learning and collaboration, but give everyone the flexibility to manage their life as they need.
That is great. And so, how does talent respond to that? Do they like what you've been doing? Do they make suggestions on how it could be even better? What's their response to all this?
Absolutely. They're really engaged in the process. I think we hear feedback like, there were 12 of us at WeWork yesterday and none of us could find a phone booth, right? So that's stuff that we have to work through, or team members who say, I would love to go and hang out, but I'm just going to be in front of my computer all day. So I'm having a hard time balancing those two. But this work from wherever actually came from, it emerged from a Chicago staffer who in the winter was feeling really, really stuck in her house and she was able to voice, I need to be able to get out. Is that something you can help with? Right. And we, of course, were responsive to that. And so it is something that we do work with our team on, and it does work because it's not super rigid. It does require people to be able to advocate for what they need. And so that's something that we're just asking people to be really, really open with both, their managers and with us as leadership to speak up when things aren't feeling great and if they feel like they need more of a resource, because we're definitely open to that. It's just not necessarily always readily available. So it does require the team to speak up, but they're a part of that process and can use that stipend however they see fit. And then, for the New York WeWork situation, we are looking if there are any agencies and the indies in the network that have shared office space or have a good solution for flex space, let us know, because we are looking for space where we can both have collaboration and independent work time, since so much of our work is client service on the phone with clients or vendors. So we need to be able to solve for both of those things in whatever the flex workspace is.
Yep. No, it's always a challenge because you want that independence, and it's always great to have. As someone who is working from home right now, I totally understand that. But yeah, finding those spaces, and I have been in many a WeWork in New York. I know how it goes. So, but those phone booths are hard to grab.
Yes.
but no, that's great to hear. And the clients, obviously, you've been working with these clients for a while, and they know your situation. And I imagine you're able to create an environment that makes them feel comfortable.
Absolutely. I think the team is either on site at client, or we're hosting them at either, a pop-in co-working space, or myself and Mark are both part of professional networks that offer, have conference room availability. So we're either hosting a client or on site with a client probably about once a quarter. So that's something that we're still able to do without an office, which is great.
Gotcha. All right. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, it's funny. It's funny too, Kyle, because we used to always say, hey, if we go to New York, LA, San Francisco, we're going to be able to see a concentration of clients in each place. And that's just not the case anymore. And now our clients are in Boise, they're in Columbus, and the dynamics actually flip, that now, when they come to Chicago, they love to come to our space here. And that creates, a ton of good energy. And so the dynamic has changed so much, as we all know.
Yeah, certainly. The question that everybody loves: do you consider yourselves, as many in the indie world do, weirdos, misfits, or underdogs?
I'm gonna go with underdog, and it's fitting because we have, as a small shop, we've had an opportunity to pitch on some big stuff, and luckily we've won some, and where we haven't won, we've been competitive. And we definitely take a different approach and have a different talk track, and feel like an underdog when we're going into rooms where folks not only have massive teams, but are investing a ton in technology, and we're talking about really strategic people. That's us. I just think in general, it's a really unique moment for indies, and I think as indie underdogs in general, we kind of know the larger holdco environment right now, and feel like our value prop. We've talked a lot about why it makes sense, why it's great to work in an indie. I think that accrues to clients as well. Clients also get, something that we experience when we're part of interagency teams, which is just amazing vibes and really high quality people. And so I think the secret's out about working with indies, and we have our underdog moment where we're really able to compete effectively right now.
Love it. And then, of course, we always ask this question, and it's not really a question, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to call out a CMO, a marketer, could be brand, could be agency, could be anybody you want, could be your dog, I don't know. But call out anyone, you use it as a business opportunity rather than a shout out. So anybody you would like to say hi to on that end.
Okay, well, I got to say shout out to Leo the dog, who's at daycare today. But outside of that, it's kind of interesting. So the Genesis CNC was Jordan and I kind of early in that fractional CMO seat, and I think it's really interesting. And I'll give a shout out to fractional CMOs, right? Because that has become such a predominant part of our working relationships, and so many clients. There's a fractional team member, either in on an interim basis, could be like a mat leave situation, gap fill until a full-time hire comes in, or just extra capacity, maybe in a new way. And so we've just seen that dynamic evolve. I think it's super interesting, and we really value those relationships. Shout out to Ben Johanneman, fractional CMO, who we've had the pleasure of working with. Probably the best we've ever seen in merging marketing strategy and business success and being able to communicate that to executive stakeholders. So yeah, overall, just going to shine a spotlight on the no longer emergent and now really mainstream world of fractional CMOs.
Nice. Carly, anyone in particular?
Well, yes, we love Ben. I think coming from my, former, I'm definitely more of a brand marketer. So I resonate and like gravitate towards brand first and then the people behind that, right? I would say in this moment, I would love to work with the WNBA. It's also just personal passion. You can see my basketball right there. And coming off of some like very, very emphatic NCAA tournament watching in my house for the women's tournament specifically. So I think there's just such a huge moment in women's sports. I would love to be able to, whether it's with WNBA or National Women's Soccer, I just think that there's great opportunity. And so I would love to be able to help those brands in their growth as they continue to hopefully get the attention that they deserve.
Oh yeah, and it's still rising, and love it. So you heard it here. I want to thank you both, Mark, Carly. Thank you so much from Craft and Commerce. It's been great talking to you. I hope everybody gets to know this indie agency very well. And again, much appreciated for you coming.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, thanks to everyone. Thanks to Craft and Commerce, and we will see you next time.